Hey everybody, it's Jared.
Oh boy, and everyone's favorite mouse.
Aaron Miller, everybody. Welcome to the Soda Society podcast, where every new week we watch a new movie. Not Disney, but you can check out our episode description the movie and soda for next week, as well as all of our social links. I'm sorry. Am I giving you the intercourse terms? Oh, no.
Spoilers ahead.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Soda Society podcast. I am Jared Lindsay, and I am with John Kim and Aaron Miller.
Hello.
Hello, yo.
Hey guys, it's good to be back, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think so. It's been...
Aaron, you look so scared.
I know, he does. He's like
He's so
shivering.
cold.
I'm scared.
So close
and
to home.
worried. No, I'm good.
Okay.
I have a coat.
He does.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, John brought his audio engineering coat today with us.
But he's not audio
But he's
engineering
not.
currently.
He's not a host.
He's
So
he's
he's
a
not
host.
wearing the coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just host.
If we wanted to be 100% politically correct, I would put half the coat on because I'm still technically
Yeah,
engineering
that's true.
this.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we live on the wild side here.
Yes, we do. But yeah, welcome back, everybody. It's been 2 weeks since our last episode, which was on Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
Yes.
This week's movie is Whisper of the Heart, and this week's soda we have not one, not four, but 3 Ramu bottles, carbonated soft drinks, the original flavor. Clink.
Clink. That's a nice sound.
Yeah. All right, you guys want to open these guys
Yeah.
at the same time? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
That was the ASMR part of our podcast.
Nice. You know, I was watching a lot of ASMR before I got here. I just wanted to listen to I just wanted to listen to the sound of eggs getting peeled, really close to my ear, but I couldn't find anything really good. So instead I just opted for normal food sounds, and I'm like, this is so interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
I love how Aaron keeps bringing it to his lips and then pulling it away.
I feel like we should all take his first sip together.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
cheers, you guys.
Cheers.
I haven't had Ramune in a long time.
It tastes
just
like
candy.
Yeah.
Oh, so much
tastes like anime.
It does. But before we start talking about Whisper of the Heart by Yoshifumi Kondo, let's just do a check-in. What have you guys been watching this week? What movies? What stuff? Or the last 2 weeks, actually. Here?
Well, I watched Whisper of the Heart.
I would hope so.
And we're still working on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Has it gotten better? Worse?
It's gone way worse.
You're sticking through it.
We're on the last episode. One more hour, you know.
It's gotten way worse.
One more
It's
hour.
gotten significantly
That's what I like to
worse.
think of.
It's just everything is falling apart.
Oh my gosh.
The characters'
What will
motivations
Sabrina do?
are just it's not even a plot thing. It's just
What will she do?
everyone's motivations are so unclear.
Mm-hmm.
There's characters that exist for seemingly no reason.
Why is there a
but
talking cat?
It just seems like the writers take each episode as its own thing, and they're like, okay, this episode I want to do this with this character, and then they forget about the next
And
episode.
then they just don't?
Yeah.
Oh,
But it's trying to tell a bigger story.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Okay, it's not
Hopefully.
serialized where it's
Yeah,
each
it's like a
episode.
big, long...
It's an arc.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it doesn't work that the characters are
Yeah,
changing
so
every
it's
single
like-
episode.
Yikes. It's like they had a miscommunication. One department was like, oh, we're doing episodic, right? And the other one's like, we're doing an arc, right?
Yeah.
And then they come together every week and they go, I think we nailed that. And they high five each other. They're compromise. And then the audience is like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
Other than that, I don't think I watched anything else.
John?
Well, I have a really controversial opinion.
Let's hear
I
it.
posted this on Twitter, but no one really reacted to it.
He posted it on Twitter on the Soda Society handle.
Yeah. Because it should reflect the views of everyone on the podcast. You know? But, so my opinion, my controversial opinion is, I think the Insomniac Spider-Man game
Yeah.
The video game made for PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4.
Okay.
I think that's the best Spider-Man movie there is.
Oh wow! Out of all of them,
Out of all the Spider-Man movies,
6 out of all 6. That's the 3 with Tobey, the 2 with Garfield, and the 1 with Holland.
Yeah, this one beats them all.
Oh my gosh!
It doesn't even increase the poll to 7. It just enters the ranking. And like in one of the films, like if we're doing a top 6 list of the best movies, it'll just take one of those spots, and then one of the movies won't even be mentioned at all.
We're looking at you, Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire.
Exactly.
No, that one gets kept in.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh,
man. We're talking Amazing Spider-Man 2.
2. Yeah,
Wow.
all right, I can see that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then as an extension of this, I remember we needed to talk about this, but we never really did. But Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Period. It's one of the best superhero movies. Period.
He also posted that on the Soda Society Pod Twitter handle at Soda Society Pod on Twitter. Everybody.
Yeah.
Both of these things. This is the content you are missing out on.
Again, if we're talking about top 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, it'll be Guardians of the Galaxy, Mission Breakout, the Guardians of the Galaxy 1. That's it. Even though 2 is more indicative of like what happens on the ride, I choose to forget about that movie completely and just focus on the ride.
Does Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, does that count? Also, by the way, for those of you who really do not know, that's the ride at California Adventure at Disneyland here in Anaheim. It is a ride.
Okay, like let's go through it. Like it's so good. Like you walk through like just world building and lore, and you're in the collector's room, and then suddenly you get like this animatronic Rocket Raccoon. Just like he's like I need to break my friends out of this place.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, that Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's actually Bradley Cooper. It's so great.
It is.
And then like fucking Benicio del Toro's there too.
They filmed a whole new sequence with Benicio del Toro.
Like the top 3 actors of Guardians of the Galaxy, it's Bradley Cooper, Benicio del Toro, and John C. Reilly.
They just didn't get John C. Reilly back.
They just didn't get him back. He was too expensive. And then you're just on the ride, and then the ride itself, it's like, it has its own, like, sort of 3-act structure of,
It does.
you know, you're really hyped at, you know, in the beginning, Rocket Raccoon pulls the thing, and you're just going, and then you're living through the second act. You're, like, in the second act, like, doing this whole entire thing, and then you see, like, they all get captured, and then Star-Lord gets, like, killed for a second, and then he comes back in the next floor. It's great.
You know, he's right. It's a really good 3-act structure.
Yeah, and then don't even start with Monsters After Dark.
I was thinking about that too.
It's just also incredible.
Yeah,
it's like a Rocket Solo like spin-off film.
It
was better than Solo.
Yeah,
it was. If we're talking about Disney spin-offs, and we're just talking about Disney spin-offs as of like 2016 and on, you know. And, you know, based off the supporting character, Disney spin-offs from 2017 based on supporting characters, and there's just like one film spot to take that place. Throw out Solo, just put Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout Monsters After Dark, because
I think so too.
It's so good too. It just builds upon existing narrative, takes it in a way that doesn't even affect anything else in the Guardians of the Galaxy universe or the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It just adds on top of it, because we haven't seen a Marvel horror movie yet.
You're right.
And that's what Monsters After Dark really fulfills, I think.
Yeah, unless you count the ending of Infinity War, in which case, kind of.
Yeah.
But nobody does.
I do.
All right.
So Jerry, what have you been watching? Oh, we also watched the things.
Yeah. So John and I, a week ago, I think it was 2 podcasts ago when we were here talking about Nightmare Before Christmas, when Aaron and John said they went to see Mid-90s, right? I think. So that was like 4 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, John and I went to see Mid-90s, and I really enjoyed it. I remember Aaron talking about like the soundtrack and not liking the soundtrack, but liking the the song choices itself.
You didn't like the score, but you liked the
yeah,
soundtrack.
thank you. Like, didn't like the score, but liked the soundtrack. And I could kind of see where he was coming from with that. But overall, it was great. The guy who plays Ray, like John was telling me about him before the movie, and man, that kid kills that performance.
Delivers.
It's just so good in it. And so does what is his name? Sonny Benjack, right?
Sonny Soljic.
Soljic. Yeah, the main kid.
Yeah.
Who he let me know was also in God of War, who played Kratos' son.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
same kid.
Come here, boy. Get on this boat.
That's Kratos, not the kid.
Right on my damn boat. Right on my damn boat. Get on this boat.
John has also been playing God of War. That part is not a part of the God of War, the coughing part. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say if we're talking about like best like mythological movies, I would say it's Disney Hercules and also God of War.
Honestly, I agree.
A lot of hot takes this
But
episode.
it is. But I also have to throw in a controversial opinion too, because another thing I've watched, if you're going to throw in a wild card such as Insomniac's Spider-Man game,
yeah.
I also have to say Detective Pikachu.
Oh, fuck.
No.
Because I watched it. Here's the thing.
Wait, you
though.
watched it?
I
It was
wa-
already out?
No, let me explain. Not the movie. The game.
Uh-huh.
The game
Oh.
Detective Pikachu.
Oh.
And now get this, guys. Literally, the game has maybe 3 or 4 hours of gameplay. It has 2.5 hours of cutscenes.
What the heck?
I kid you not.
Is this the new Metal Gear Solid 4?
It is. It's basically a cinematic movie. It's basically a movie. You can watch the whole thing and get the whole plot of the
Wow.
Detective Pikachu game just based off of the cutscenes. And I have to talk about like my favorite part. It's when this seemingly random Pikachu comes out of nowhere. It goes up to Detective Pikachu,
They head over to
and
the
it goes like Pika, and Detective Pikachu obviously speaks English, and he's like, "Yeah, man, trainers, am I right?" And Pikachu is like, "Pika," and I don't understand why they just didn't both speak in Pikachu or whatever, or just English. Like, there was this weird like Han Chewie thing going on, except they were both goddamn Pikachus. And it turns out, and the whole plot at the end is like, what is this Pikachu talking about? And the Pikachu goes away, and Detective Pikachu turns around and like goes into like full film noir mode, and he like tips his fedora and goes, "Yeah, I hope he finds his trainer. I hope he becomes the best there ever was." So it was Ash's Pikachu the whole time.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I knew it was coming and I was still disappointed.
Right? So I spent 2 hours of my life watching that.
Oh my goodness. I was gonna say, I don't know if I'll post this, and it'll just be the society thing, but this morning I watched IGN's video of all 171 Pokemon walking animations from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Uh-huh.
Are you serious?
It's a 10-minute video.
Oh,
And
you mean when they walk
recorded a
behind you?
reaction to it. Fucking ridiculous. I did, like, I got the same recorder out and I was like, "Hey everybody, I'm gonna do a reaction." Like, yeah, I'll play for you guys later after this.
Okay.
But
Can you upload that to the Soda Society
I was
YouTube?
thinking about doing it.
I think you
Yeah.
should. I think that's some good extra
Because
content.
I like the idea of just like the videos, like nothing's changed with the video. You just hear this guy talking about like, what the fuck why is Ekans so small? Like, oh my god, Ekans is like a garden snake in this, and some of these motherfuckers are like so big.
Like Lapras, I've seen Lapras's animation behind.
Lapras
that
is
character.
perfectly fine sized, I think.
What? Give a character who's like really big. Like,
Aerodactyl.
oh really?
If you look at Aerodactyl's walking animation, flying animation, in Pokemon Let's Go
Just walking.
Pikachu,
It's like waddling.
his head is like half his body. It's a big ass head.
Wait, what about Onyx? I would feel like
Onyx is also normal. Like all these
What?
bigger Pokemons, you'd expect them to be weird. Perfect size. I think Dragonite's a perfect size. But you look at some of these motherfuckers in here, and it's ridiculous. Oh my god. The best one is like there's some really good ones, but I love Alolan Executor. He's like the
they should
the
make
tall
it so
neck.
his neck is like never in the frame.
It's really close.
That's so funny.
It's a really great effect. But,
Okay, I like
yeah,
that.
that was in my life.
Man, should get that game. All right, you guys ready to jump in?
Mhm.
You feel caught up?
Let's pause really quick.
You got it.
I'm dying. Man. actually am like sick.
Oh,
No,
that's okay.
Scary.
It's a good thing we have separate bottles today.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's actually really that's a good point.
Yeah, it's good. We can like sip along.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're gonna start off pretty simply because for those of you guys who don't know, Whisper of the Heart is a movie made by Studio Ghibli. I think it came out in 1995. Though that studio is the same people as Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, and the most recent one was probably like that a lot of people knew was like Ponyo, probably, right?
Oh, that a lot of people knew.
Yeah, that a lot of people knew, like Secret Life of Ariete, one of those. But it's animated, and that's what I want to focus on a lot today, is like the animation aspects. So let's ask another pretty general question, like, what was your guys' favorite animated movie growing up? I don't like that.
My favorite anime movie growing up was Space Jam.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yes. I watched that all the time. I had it on VHS.
DVD,
Always.
just VHS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I own it on Blu-ray because I got it.
Yeah.
I told you guys before.
He told us already.
But yeah,
I
Space Jam was
could
my
have
favorite.
lent you the Blu-ray.
You
But
also
I
have
want
the
to own
Blu-ray?
it.
I could have gifted it.
I have a really funny tangent about that movie. It was when Farhan had a birthday party once, and he got a Space Jam from somebody else and from me.
He got it from my
Yeah.
brother and from
And
me.
from me, yeah. So so he got 2 copies of Space Jam for his birthday. That was so funny. But yeah, what about it?
I don't
Why did
know.
you like it?
I don't know. As a kid, I didn't have a lot of attachment to Looney Tunes in general.
Mhm.
I still don't. But for some reason, Space Jam, I just always thought was really funny.
Mm.
And I don't know. Like my favorite scene in it is the final basketball scene, of course. And then
Right.
all the tunes are like, we gotta take advantage of the fact that we're cartoons. And they start doing wacky bullshit, and then they win.
True that.
I don't know. It's just fun. It doesn't
Yep.
take itself seriously in any way.
You want to know something really interesting? Space Jam was the very first time Lola Bunny came into existence.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
the very first thing she was introduced in. Is that weird? She feels so established,
She does.
but she isn't. That's the first time she came up.
Wow. And now she's the leading lady of my dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of people's. If you watch like the new cartoon, they like changed her script completely because she was like a sex icon in Space Jam, obviously, and in the new cartoon they're like,
It's
"Look,
crazy.
We're gonna
It
change
is crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna change that because obviously children, which they didn't think with Space Jam for some reason. So they made her, instead of like super seductive and like sultry and all that stuff, they made her like really clumsy and really ditzy.
Oh.
So she's like cute and well-meaning, but kind of an airhead. And they just
Interesting.
changed the script. Yeah.
Lola Bunny was the first.
Go on.
Yeah, go on.
No, I'll stop there. It's weird to. It's a kids movie, and someone had to draw every single frame of animation. Did they ever stop and think like,
Yes, they
why
did.
am I making a sexy bunny?
Ah.
Like-
I mean, she has the same kind of appeal that somebody like Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
But
Jessica Rabbit is
Rabbit's
like, oh, it's supposed to be.
yeah,
Like, that's the point,
Like-
but I think, I don't know. Like I said, it was the
Like,
first time
there's
she came.
sexy
Oh.
basketball player isn't like a archetypal character.
Yeah.
You're right.
I was gonna say. She didn't need to be in
She
the
was
movie.
she was pushing a lot of envelopes with just being in the movie. Okay. Yeah. What about you, John?
I was there too. It's Up by Studio Pixar.
Good stuff.
Totoro, so good. No, I'm gonna stop there with the Japanese voice. Alright, but Up is, I have very fond memories of seeing that in theaters, and like, I think it was more like middle school kind of age, but that was a really special, that was a very special movie.
Nice.
And then also, My Neighbor Totoro. by Studio Ghibli. I think that's one of my favorite movies still. But I think like that film, so many like fond memories of being a kid, and like my mom's like, these movies are good, and I was like, okay, I don't have any perception of like what's good and bad yet.
Yeah.
You know, and then I watched it and like there's nothing else like it. I thought it was like super weird, which is like the greatest feeling a kid can have while watching a movie. It's like, this is super weird. Hell yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because we all like to think of ourselves as weird and
and kooky and random.
Yeah, just being like just identifying with like these really like bold ideas. I think like kids like really can like grab hold of them. So
yeah,
the fucking title animation, I was like, oh, what? Look at these spiders. Yeah, the spiders. Yeah, that film is just super. I don't know, like, whenever I think about, like, paradise or, like, heaven or, like, I just want to go to my happy place. I always, like, imagine it as, like, a Studio Ghibli kind of, like, backdrop of, like,
yes,
fields and, like, that blue, like, a blue sky that's, like, almost, like, impossible to see, like, nowadays with, like, fucking smog and...
Yeah, so blue and so many clouds.
Yeah.
And forever. Yeah.
There's a really good quote, Miyazaki. I can go on and on about Miyazaki, but... There's a good quote in his book, Starting Point, where he talks about like the perfect like, the perfect run and how he's like always trying to capture like, the perfect like running animation. Not even animation, but in terms of like, it's something like so like human about it, and like there's something so like, righteous about it. Like these characters are running just to, run for fun, in a really like wholesome way, and like I can imagine myself like, running amongst those hills. In Totoro or like Princess Mononoke or Wind Rises, like really beautiful backdrops,
Absolutely gorgeous.
It's sort of like
like
pad out the space in my mind.
Yeah, like with John, almost every weekend when I was like in elementary school, I would like spend a night or a weekend at my grandparents' house. So what they did before they put us to bed, they would always put on a movie, and those were the nights when I was introduced to like Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki, and the one that has always like stuck with me has been Spirited Away. That one is just so great in terms of like, I think it's its characters, because Chihiro, the main girl in Spirited Away, her character development is just incredible. Like, she goes from this little girl who has no idea of like self-identity and no idea of like self-responsibility, and she goes on this incredible journey where she learns how to be responsible, and she learns how to like take care of herself when sometimes your parents can't, and that's just incredible. You know what I mean? Plus it's beautiful, and like the score and the animation, all of it. It was always between Spirited Away for me, and then the other one that is still really potent to me, it's the Pokemon movie, but it's not the first one. It's not Mewtwo Strikes Back. It's Pokemon 2000. The
Lugia?
Oh.
Yeah, the one with Lugia and the 3 legendary birds.
Those movies also very important.
My gosh.
Very important movies.
Like, I remember watching that one over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I would watch that on the VHS until like it broke. I watched it so many times. It's like the scene where they play like the conch, and then it like summons Lugia from the ocean is so crazy to me. It was so cool. And like Ash is like a chosen one, and he has to go on this journey to 3 islands to get the orbs. Like, it's like a freaking hero's journey film.
Yeah, it is.
It's so cool.
Yeah, those like
the early Pokemon movies
were incredible.
Amazing.
My other favorite anime movie is probably the first one.
The first one,
Yeah.
Mewtwo. They call it Mewtwo Strikes Back, right?
Yeah.
He never struck the first time. That was the first film.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
But it was really good.
Yeah.
My gosh.
And my favorite, I think, it's either the Lugia one or it has to be the Entei one.
Oh,
the Entei one is like
super sad.
Super sad, and like it affected me in like a really like haunting way. It's like really like scary what happens in that film.
It is. The little girl who doesn't have a father. The father is Entei.
Yeah, the father's
Entei. Like, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
There are some people
A lot of
who
tears
are
in that.
probably listening right now who don't know anything about Pokemon going,
Go play some Pokemon.
Let's go Pikachu.
Real quick about Pokemon movies. The early ones, because I grew up watching the show on TV also. And then the movies always had this different feel about them.
Yeah.
they did.
Like, I don't know if it was just
Better animation.
better animation or what, but they felt so different. Like like when they came on TV, it was never a question like, oh, is this the regular TV show or is this the movie? Because you just know from the way it looks.
Yeah, it always looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, it was...
It gave me like this warm feeling. Somehow, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. That actually is going to be something that... This warm feeling idea is something I'm going to bring back later. Because I think it's something that Whisper of the Heart does really, really well.
Yeah.
But, alright, you guys ready to jump on in?
Yeah.
So, here's the first question. And I talked to John about this. Did you watch the sub or did you watch the dub?
Ooh.
Which one did you watch?
Wait.
This time, first time I saw it, sub.
Mm-hmm.
This time. Da 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 da.
Wow.
Yeah?
Yeah. So when you give your answer, you go da 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 or so.
Alright, what about you?
I
Hell
watched
yeah.
the sub.
Nice. The first
Didn't
time...
even go with the thing.
Yeah, he didn't.
No.
The first time I watched
New
it, I watched the
directions.
dub.
That was also not it. That was way too quick.
Dub.
There
Better.
we go.
It doesn't
And
work if it's sub. It doesn't sound the same.
What?
But this time I watched it with the sub. And I don't know, I feel like it was interesting because so John, you've seen it both ways.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched the
I've only
dub?
watched the sub.
So
Zaren's a true anime fan.
true, yeah. The age-old debate, dub or sub.
See, that's what the question is asking, right?
This week's poll is going to be dub or sub. Fight.
Because I'll be honest, sub's so much better.
The sub is a lot better. I remember watching the dub the first time, and they play Country Roads in English, and I was like, is this the right movie? Am I watching this right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it kind of came out of nowhere, you know what I
It
mean?
needs to be in Japanese, specifically for Whisper of the Heart, I think.
I think so, too.
That's such a fucking pretentious opinion, but like, I'll take it.
No, to an extent, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's something really nice about the idea of this Japanese schoolgirl taking an American English song and
Yes.
making it Japanese. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yeah, that's like a big part of the movie.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Like, oh my god, it's like, it brings me to the whole entire debate of like, why was the dub made in general? Right? Okay, like, why do we need to dub our lives so some other people can like understand it better, right?
Yeah.
right.
You know, it's like it's a big thing with like a lot of like, you know, a lot of foreign language films and like. You have extremists who are like, no one should watch these movies except the people in the area, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Of course.
Yeah, what the
it's
heck?
meant to be shared, but it's like, there's so much like, about like, and maybe it is case by case basis, but I think it's like, the subs are it's what you need to, you know, get across basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like, you know, yeah, I don't know, the dubs just always feel like, you know, I don't know. It's an impression of an impression almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, picture of a picture.
Yeah. Because I do know, like, there are some, like, movies where it's, like, English or American voice actors, like, play up the fact that they know it's, like, an anime kind of thing. They, like, put on some of those voices, too. Where it becomes, like, a little, like, ooh. What are you doing
Cartoonish.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, overdone.
I feel like that's why Miyazaki had a problem with, like, the first of his films being dubbed really poorly. It's because he's, like, this sounds really bad.
Right.
Feels really inauthentic. And that's why, you know,
Yeah, in the 2000s it got a lot better.
Disney did, like, a lot better work with, like,
Yeah.
figuring out, like, you know.
They also casted
Yeah.
the same people who did their Disney films, their Disney cartoons, to do a lot of the Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah.
You know? Because, like, most of the cast of, like, Spirited Away were other characters in Disney. Like,
Yeah.
Chihiro was the girl who played Lilo, and Lin was the girl who played Meg in Hercules. And then Haku, the dragon, he was somebody else in a different movie, but they're all, like...
Spirited Away dub's actually pretty good.
incredible, yeah. Or also Howl's Moving Castle. That one's really good, too.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Batman.
JGL.
Yeah, and JGL.
JGL is a damn plain man. You like me just reducing that character, that vision down to like that damn plain man.
I think it's interesting with the Ghibli dubs, because for the most part these days, I think they're quality. Like I saw, but they do weird things sometimes. Like I saw Kiki's recently, the dub for the first time, and I thought Kiki was actually voiced really well by Kirsten Dunst.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
All the voices were actually
so
really good.
Yeah.
But this is gonna sound like a small detail, but in the Japanese version, the song that plays on a radio at the beginning is just so much better in Japanese. And then at the very end, spoiler alert for Kiki's Delivery Service, this big plot.
How many people have seen Whisper of the Heart before Kiki's?
What do you mean?
That's a very slim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people probably have seen Kiki's.
Yeah,
And probably haven't
sure.
seen Whisper of the Heart.
Yeah.
But they do this thing where she saves Tombo from the blimp thing.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like crowding around her, and then Gigi comes, and at this point they've lost communication with each other because she's growing up or whatever.
Right.
But in the Japanese version, Gigi comes back and he meows, and that's it. In the English version, he comes back and he says something in English, and she understands him. So they completely change that entire dynamic.
That's crazy.
With just one line.
Gigi comes in, yowza, wowza, good job, Kiki. Good job. Wow. Thanks.
Oh man,
But-
I've never had any idea about that.
Yeah.
Such a small detail.
What was communicated by the cat?
It was just like, you did it or something. But like the point of her not hearing him anymore is because she's growing up.
Yeah.
And she's losing
touch with the magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It's weird.
What do you like better?
I like the meow.
Yeah.
It seems like
it's more obscure.
It's more obscure as to the meaning, and it's sort of because at the ending is super happy, but it still has that touch of like melancholy. Whoa. But with
just as the light changes in the room,
it's wild. But with him speaking English, it's just now everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Great, she has her animal friend again.
Yeah.
It's almost like a lack of growth too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that comes back to like dubs do little things that change things, and like the whole Japanese girl translating English to Japanese, it's you lose something.
Yeah. I think it depends how cultural it is too. Because you have something like playing devil's advocate for myself, like Fully Cooley, right? The dub's really good in that, and it's because
the dub is really good.
Because especially in that first series, I haven't seen the new stuff because it doesn't look interesting. A lot of hot takes. All right. There's like this aspect of like using a lot of like cultural references and stuff,
right?
Put into the dub and maybe something like I don't know, because it's like, should you preserve the original Japanese culture, or that's sort of like making it more acceptable for like our audiences. But then there's also something about I also think hearing those references actually feel good in some kind of way. Right. But it's it's a double-sided coin, So yeah, I was a little too radical at the beginning. I would say now it's a case-by-case basis.
I think that's gonna be a big part of talking about Whisper of the Heart, because it's it deals with Japanese and American music themes, and then the whole idea of just leaving your country to pursue something else too. But I think I want to bring it back to animation a little bit, because it's really interesting. The way that Studio Ghibli animates is a lot different than the way a Western company like Disney animates. In preparation for watching this, I took notes, by the way, kind of like how John did for Nick and Nora. But the notes that I took before, I did a little bit of research by watching a couple of video essays on animation. One in particular by Captain Christian. Shout out to him because he did a lot of the work. But he did a basic crash course on like Disney animation and what makes Disney animation so good. And he took it from this book called The Illusion of Life by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, two of the old men, like Disney's old men, the guys who did most of the animation in the early days. Mm-hmm. And they narrowed it down to a 12 number list of what makes Disney animation so great. Obviously, we're not going to do all 12, but I want you guys to like imagine like a Disney movie and then compare it to like Whisper of the Heart. Mm-hmm. What are those differences that you guys like pick up on or like maybe don't? You know what I mean? Did you feel
Disney
different?
Movies,
Did it feel different?
Disney movies don't have people of color in them.
Hot takes all around. That might be the hottest one.
That one made me just sigh. Both John and
I would love it if I just like would be back with some society. Just cut it up there.
Moving on.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
2 like audible pauses from Aaron Miller.
Yeah, he's really riding this one.
Yeah.
He's riding it today.
Aaron is what makes this podcast different from every other podcast out there.
It wasn't for me. This just be animal podcast.
Yeah.
Sure. Whatever.
Unfortunately. That was your point?
Man, get out of here.
Shit out of you.
Well, you mean like classic Disney?
Sure, yeah, they're 2D animation stuff. I'm talking like Jungle Book and like Pinocchio and a lot of the old princess films. Those ones too.
I mean, a lot of it's based on like very classic, like I don't want to say this because I don't know if I can like fully back it up, like mythic structure. Like they feel like fairy tales.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. I mean, that's why like the early ones, like especially were like based on like folklore and like those kind of tales, and like there's a very like clear progression of like story events that are happening within those films. Whereas I feel like, you know, I mean, I don't know how much research you did, but I watched the documentary with Miyazaki, like animating his last film, Wind Rises, and a lot of it is all about him sort of just like feeling out like what happens next. And he's like, I don't know what's happening on the next page. These people are just waiting for me to complete this page. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like, he does like have amazing storytelling, but then like,
Yeah.
I feel like it comes from a much more like, it's a lot quieter too.
Mm-hmm.
Even the really loud stuff,
Yeah.
it's a lot more quiet, and there's something about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a.
Oh, I was gonna. Sorry.
Pass it to Aaron.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's gonna say something real.
For
This
something
time?
real, yeah.
that was real. I don't know. I mean, the style is obviously different.
Yeah, but like, what makes it different? Like, let's actually try and figure out what those
Okay.
things are.
Okay.
Yeah. What are they?
Ghibli, like I'm thinking faces right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this characteristic Studio Ghibli face, like that Miyazaki started and all their movies use.
Yeah.
Like the same face shape and eyes and everything. Like this very exaggerated, but it's not so out there.
I feel like it's the other way around.
Really?
I think Disney like
Subtle.
has a Disney face with a lot of its like princesses especially. Like, oh, it's a Disney face. Like,
I
mean,
think I have to kind of agree with John a little.
I think they both have characteristic faces, but I feel like I'm thinking like Snow White and Cinderella, the old ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they were trying to go for something that seemed, I don't know, in my mind it seems more like semi-realistic rather than Ghibli. I don't know.
I disagree completely.
Let's hear it.
Well, I didn't know how to. I'm kidding. I don't know. Like I said with the Disney face, like I think it's really overly emphasized, and like I feel like a Miyazaki face is a lot more like realistic in terms of like how expressed it can be.
Yeah.
Because it's never super over the top that you would see in like anime or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I don't know. Like whenever I think about Disney, I think about like, how many like frames. Like I just think about like what are these called? Eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
I think about like how many frames it takes for me to see like a Disney character blink of like their eyelid moving from like frame to frame. And I'm like, man, I could see that thing like close down like some shutters. Whereas like Ghibli, I think it's a lot more like it's a lot more subtle. How like we sort of like normally see things. I don't know. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think there's.
It's a lot. Yeah.
That's the thing. I think there's something very distinctly Japanese about Ghibli animation, just like there's something distinctly American about Disney animation. With Disney, like one of the principles that they say in the book is this thing called squash and stretch, where like when you see a lot of the intention to making things look like they're real is that they have to feel like in animation they have weight and bones and like muscles and inside, so they don't just start and go, they wind up and then they go, and when they wind up they squash together and then they stretch out. You know what I mean? Just think of like what's the panther's name from Jungle Book? The Black Panther. Bagheera. Yeah, like that looks like a real panther, like a real like cat, because of how he squashes and stretches, especially when he jumps. You know what I mean? Like that replicates real life, and I think in Japanese animation it's like that too, but you don't see as much squashing and stretching. I think it's much more.
It's exaggeration, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit exaggerated. Something that I always like have associated with Ghibli movies is the look of surprise face. So it's in every Ghibli movie, and I love it to death. It's when something surprising happens and the character physically lifts up and their hair goes up.
Yeah.
That's in almost every Ghibli film, and that is completely and only them. It's their look of surprise and it's their look of like discovery that only happens in like that kind of Japanese animation. Because real life, your hair doesn't stand up on its sides while you like have something happen to you.
Yeah.
But it's just so, it tells the story exactly how like you see that as an audience and you go, I know exactly how they're feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's so different from Disney in a way of surprise. The eyes get bigger, maybe, and that's about it. I think with Ghibli, like the whole body is thrown into it. I think that's cool. Yeah.
Good time.
All right, guys. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. But actually, that's the next thing that I kind of want to touch on is like almost throwing it back to like meshes. Our first episode when John was like, "What's the purpose of like short film?" I'm really interested in like this idea of like what's the purpose of animation? You know, like what does it accomplish differently? Or like when you're watching an animated film, like do you watch it differently than when you're watching something that's live action or something like that?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, how?
For me, if I were, I have interest in being like a filmmaker and whatnot, but if I were to like pick one medium that like I would like love to work in more than any other, would probably be animation, because there's something about. I'm coming from a filmmaker's standpoint. It's like just ultimate control, right? It's control of like every single element can be like created, and it's like it's. There's a lot less of the unpredictability of like I guess like. Of what can happen like with real actors, and that you can sort of control every single bit to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But I think what that means, what that translates for an audience member is just like it's a story that can only be told in this medium of like that's so that like I think it's at its best when it's like big and small. Like for example, like I think like you really can't do like huge movies exploring very specific worlds without the use of like animation, like Finding Nemo, you know, like the world of the ocean and whatnot. Like that's so huge, but then I think it's like it depends on like what movie it is, but I think it's something for like Whisper of the Heart. In a way, you could have done this movie with live action, but it being animated, I think there's something about like of sort of like understanding like how big our normal like quiet lives are. That I think are like I think that's really important, you know.
Yeah.
And then like it's sort of equated when they do the whole entire fantasy sequence with the Baron,
Yeah.
It's like that sort of thing of like transporting you into this like really big world of like where anything can happen, That's what I think like animation does, and like that lets kids, and whoever just like watch it and like, it's like such a it's a really beautiful dream, I think films in a way are you like it's all about the subconscious, right? Like you're watching it and you're watching it and you're entertained. That's the first and foremost thing, and animation is very entertaining. But it's like you're watching it and you're getting these like things that you identify with, you empathize with the movie, and like it's these impressions that like sort of change how you see the world, And I think for animation, like I think it's definitely supposed to show you like at least my favorite animation is what's the stuff that like really makes the world feel big and really exciting and like how a kid feels,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like but anyone can watch it and like really like empathize with that kind of feeling, and like Whisper of the Heart was crazy because like you watch an anime movie and it's like really it's so small when you watch it, but then like it's all and you get this with any great film, but it's like wow, like I like you really like feel that, I guess, even in like your fantasies, like it's like super even in your fantasies there's something like really real there, and that makes you I don't know, I think that's the best feeling you can get out of anything,
Yeah.
Putting your hand through marbles and just watching a great movie or listening to a great song,
Okay.
Sticking your hand through a couple
just like a
marbles.
huge bucket of them, man.
Yeah.
You've never done that, Aaron?
No.
You gotta try it out. I gotta get you a bucket of marbles. I gotta get your hand there. Gotta stick your hand. Anyways, animation. This is a zany episode.
Yeah. It's the Ramune.
Did you already finish yours?
I finished my Ramune.
Wow.
I'm like halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sweet.
It is. Candy.
Yeah.
So the question...
Worst like after-tasting though.
Yeah.
The question... What's the question?
Like, what's the purpose of animation?
Okay,
Do you watch it differently than live action?
Yeah. This isn't a complete thought.
What?
So...
You're right about that aftertaste.
Yeah.
So I read this book about comics. So it's just tangent, sidebar. Comics are similar to animation in my mind in that they're drawn. And I read this book about comics, like the comic theory.
You just need to set that up.
Yeah, you did.
Tangent, side thought, incomplete thought right now. I think comics and animation are similar because they're drawn. All right.
Yeah, thank you. So I read this book on comic theory, and it was like when you draw a face, you can draw it super realistically, or you can draw it very simplified. And I think with most animation and Ghibli films in particular, they go for a middle ground. They have this realism about them, but it's also super simplified. Their faces, their heads are a little big compared to real human heads.
Right.
Their eyes are very large. There's these proportions and stuff that are just not real. But the
Look
book...
at a Ghibli film and you're like, man, Asians don't have that big eyes. Big of eyes.
Think about
it.
Sure.
Think about it.
Yeah.
East Asians specifically. Yeah.
So the Japanese.
They're Japanese.
And Koreans, I'm Korean.
Yeah.
I can make these jokes. It's okay.
But the book was
East
saying
Asians I
like...
can shit on. Everything else, no. I can. But East Asians, though, sometimes we need it. Right?
If you say
Right?
so.
It's a very nuanced issue. Issue.
Man, we're really talking about hot takes, man.
But I'm not taking it from any other perspective of this is.
Yeah, you're taking it from your perspective.
It's an East Asian talking about East Asian things.
That's fair. That's fair.
There are a lot of similarities, but then of course, it's such a diverse. It's so diverse in culture and in economic don't even talk to me about being East Asian and American. That's crazy. Don't I can't even talk about the mixed race experience. That's crazy.
Don't even get me started. I will go off on you, Aaron.
Yeah. Let's go, Aaron.
All right. So the book is saying
He's never got around to it.
Sorry.
when you draw a simplified face,
Mm-hmm.
it's easier for more people to identify with it.
Definitely.
And I think that's something that Ghibli does well
Yeah.
because their characters are unique. You can recognize the different characters. They all don't look the same, and they all don't look like smiley faces.
Yeah.
But they're just simple enough for you to feel. I don't know. It's like the subconscious thing. Like I know I'm not the same as.
Watching reality.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know. Like it helps you put yourself in their shoes somehow, even if it's like a Japanese elementary school student girl and I'm an old man. Like I don't know. It helps you relate to them more. So, and I feel like all animation does that sort of inherently.
Yeah.
Unless they're going for like a hyper realistic thing.
Yeah.
But
I think you hit the point though. That simplification of being immediate, and that's why these kind of things are primarily made for kids because they haven't really grasped a sense of
reality.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's definitely steeped in fantasy. I don't know where I got this quote from, but I wrote it down, and it says animation has all the possibilities of life without any of its limitations, and that's so true, right?
Yeah.
Because it would look so uncanny valley if the animators really dug deep and drew people true to life, and I wouldn't want to see that.
yeah.
When you look at fantasy, in a way, all animation is fantasy through the eyes of a child. In terms of how things look, the colors, the way that people are drawn. Every aspect of animation, in a way, in of itself is a fantasy. And I think that is really interesting because you compare the scene of the fantasy of the Baron and the main character from her book in Whisper of the Heart to a fantasy in, say, La La Land, right? That ending scene. And they hit you as fantasy way differently. You know what I mean? Because in live action, live fantasy, it's
it's you're held onto the boundaries of
reality.
what we
It's
can do.
a daydream, almost like a steeped in reality, but in animation, it's like an actual dream.
It's another world.
It's a completely different world.
Because the world itself is already fucking
So
crazy.
crazy, exactly.
That's what I was trying to get at. The world itself is still they're both the same. It's all equated and it's all super super rich.
Yeah, exactly. I think we kind of hit on it a little bit.
Also, a movie I watched in the past two weeks that I totally remember. That's sort of relevant is A Tree of Life by Terrence Malick.
Wow.
Great film.
3-hour cut. Criterion Collection.
Oh boy.
Criterion Channel. That's great. That's great. Going back to my original point. Yeah, there's something about I love it when filmmakers do the thing of because it's I think that's how we're supposed to see things. It's Tree of Life. You take as very core of it's just this small suburban Texas family in the 50s or 60s doing their thing, and then you have the entire creation of the universe right next to each other.
Yeah.
And that's the boldest. That's just so dumb because it's so good. Because it's essentially saying these are equal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it runs parallel, like, and like
I love that.
That's what I think movies are. It's like I can make the most like obscure movie about this, God, I can make a movie about a damn shark in the water and there's a boat and it's not the Meg, but Jaws. Like a movie like that, like it's so improbable, but then you identify with it so easily because like it's the same kind of human emotions and like you're like my story is Jaws, my story is Whisper of the Heart. It is like all these movies. It's like there's a certain kind of projection there, and it's like it's like you're reaching out to the movie and you're like, wow, like we're one and the same, and like something you're like, wow, my life can be like a movie. My life's so like it's much more rich than like anything, and I think that's what art does.
Right. And Whisper of the Heart in particular, I think is so no, that's so true.
I'm sick, so I'm just trying to fight. Started a job, so I'm just trying to find meaning.
You gotta fight, man. I think that's that's one of the things about Whisper of the Heart that's so good. It's like is how easily connected you can be to it. Because like, what do you guys think it's about? I think it's about like your dreams, like not like what you want, what you fight for, and what that is, like what you attribute your meaning to in your life, and what you want those things to be. From a kid's perspective, from like these kids are in middle school. They're in middle school. They're so young, and they have these just huge aspirations. But what do you guys think?
Yeah. Like, it's sort of about finding yourself. I don't know. It's weird because I feel like I don't know. I want to say a lot of that is very loaded into the end of the movie.
Yeah. So what's the rest?
I don't know.
Because that's what I was thinking too. I remember watching it this time around and going, yeah, the whole follow your dreams thing is there. Maybe it's even more so something like it's okay to really not know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
because that's a lot of it too.
Again, this is why like Studio Ghibli's like amazing, because like this is a story structure not typically found in like you watch a movie like Bolt from Disney and you're like you essentially know who these people are and what they want, and like honestly the first half of the movie is just sort of like this little girl just like trying different things and like being self-deprecating, and she's like there's this pressure of like these exams coming up and like all this like really petty like crush drama and that's what the movie's about. It's like just like living life and like how even when she gets this like as many of us do, like this spark like I gotta follow my dreams, I gotta do this, and then she sort of fails.
Hard
like that's like that's life, dude. It's a coming of age. It's it's her gaining maturity, I think. Yeah.
Speaking of coming of age, I
have to pee. We'll be right back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. All right, everybody, welcome back. We're still talking about Whisper of the Heart. We're tackling some stuff. We're gonna get into some specifics now. Let's talk about some of those favorite scenes. Those scenes that made your heart flutter. The scenes that made you feel some stuff. What was like the favorite scene in the movie for you guys?
I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
It has to be the country road in the shop.
Yeah, in the violin shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the centerpiece of the movie, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All of the heart is right there.
It is. It's just like, I don't know, it's so warm. It's like an explosion of like goodness, and then the band comes in. You're like, what? What is this? They're all singing Country Roads. And we're I don't know. Yeah, and the lighting's perfect. Like it's so dim. It's,
Yeah, it's dim and it's warm. It's orange.
Yeah.
Yellow.
I love that scene so much. Like she's so like best. Nervous when they come in.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay. And I like how the old men don't know the words because she wrote it.
Yeah.
But they're still like vocalizing to add to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was well done and well made, like as a whole. band.
Scene is just so freaking cute. It's got all the heart of the movie packed into one thing.
It's got a little whisper.
I hate you.
I was falling asleep while watching it, and then that scene came on. I was like, gotta watch it. It's the best scene in the film.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I like that scene, and I think obviously that one's my favorite too, but a very close second is where he goes and says, "Can I talk to you?" And the class erupts. I think that is so good. And then they follow
such
them.
a kid thing.
Isn't it? And they
so
follow
good.
them to the roof. And you're just laughing and like thinking, man, this is so fun. Because that's exactly how you were like. You know what I mean? A guy in middle school is like, "Oh, can I talk to you?" And the room is like, "What?" No! And it's perfect. It's such a perfect encapsulation of that like embarrassed, nervous feeling. I thought it was the cutest thing in the world. And they're standing out there on the rain. Yeah. And they're talking, and they're like bursting out of the doorway. Because there's so many of them in the stairwell.
I love that.
I was just smiling that whole scene. I was like, dang it, it's so good. And like even, sorry, I'll let you go, Aaron, and then I'll bring up one more scene that I really love.
I watched this once before with you.
Yeah.
And George and Alex.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't like it. But I loved the ending.
I came around to it.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Like, it made me smile. It made me tear up. I was just like, this is so cute. I love how he's just out there. And he's like, I thought I was calling you. And then you came. And I was just like, man. That's
so good.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
I loved it this time around, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Second time around.
And I love how he's just so excited, and he's like, "Will you marry me?" And then she's like,
"Maybe in the future."
Yeah. And he's like, "I love you."
Yeah, he's like, "I love you." Ends. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he comes out so aloof the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's just this little kid again. It's really
yeah. When he comes back.
He's such a punk in the beginning.
He is a punk. Oh man. But I mean, like, he's a punk in the way that like little kids are when you have a crush on somebody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because he admits it.
I didn't hate him.
Yeah, because he admits it.
I hate punks though.
He was like, I sat down in the library next to you, just hoping one day you'd look up and acknowledge me. Yeah. And then I was like, but you love to read, so I started checking out so many books and reading them all. So one day maybe you notice my name. And that's like that's the start of the movie. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's such a kid thing to do.
It's a great kid romance.
It is. It's the perfect, like, it's such a romanticized, like, idea, but it's not complete fantasy. It's something that, like, I could actually see happening, and
I think it's a little exaggerated, and I think it should be.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's not without it. It's not like past the bounds of reality.
Yeah, it's not very like this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like what you're saying about like at the very beginning of like, what's that gooey like warm feeling, you know? And it's just like how romantic it is, you know. Mm-hmm. And you know that's nostalgia talking. Yeah. That's like the feelings you have. Just like I want things to like feel this good. Yeah. You know.
So
my life feels better.
So the reason that I actually picked this movie is I hadn't seen it. I saw this movie much later than Aaron and John have. I saw it for the first time at the beginning of the summer in May. And the only reason I did was because one of my friends from school recommended it to me.
Shout her out.
This is her shout out. Her name's Nikki, and she loves this movie, and it made a lasting impression on me because she told me about this word, and I believe, oh man, she's going to really get on my case if I don't say it correctly. It's called Higa, I think. I don't want to say it's Danish. Okay, it's Danish and Norwegian, but it says it's a word for a mood of coziness and comfortable conviviality with feelings of wellness and contentment. So in certain languages, we don't have a direct translation because it doesn't quite culturally fit. Yeah. and the Danish have a word for comfort. And she's described this movie as that word encapsulated. This movie is a warm blanket and a fireplace and your favorite pet and your favorite drink playing all at the same time. And I can't think of a better way to describe it than that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. That's, well, one, that's a very beautiful word.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, there's like, I've been chasing that in a lot of things, of like music I listen to or like movies I watch, because it honestly does feel like the world's so tough nowadays. Sometimes you just need to like come back to yourself of like that higa. That was my pronunciation of the word.
I might even be pronouncing it wrong. I hope I'm not.
Higa.
Wait, hold on.
Higa. Higa. You look like I'm doing something really bad.
Wait.
Like I'm like really like
Hige.
You're butchering.
All right, wait, no, hold on. I have the pronunciation right here. It's hige. Because it's like I said, it's Danish. But yeah, that's the word. And like if you look up that word, it's like fireplaces and cozy socks in like wintertime. Just
I like that.
right. You have any thoughts, Aaron?
I feel like I've lost
Everything you ever
Fuck.
said.
Fuck.
No.
What have you lost? Oh shit.
I'm trying to back. What was the starting point of this thing?
Favorite moments of
Favorite
the movie.
moment. Okay.
You said the ending.
Yeah. It is very cozy, very comfortable. Something I think Ghibli does amazingly well is it has these movies, or they have these stories where the characters are unsure where they're going, or they're scared, or they're afraid of something, but at the same time the movie feels so overwhelmingly optimistic.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like, oh, these kids are gonna, like their romance is gonna pan out because they're kids.
Yeah.
Or, oh, he's gonna move away and he's gonna come back and he's gonna be so sad. It's like, okay, things will work out.
It's so optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though the characters are not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what a great outlook. Like talking about last week, we talked about music in your life and like Soundscope or whatever, but this is like literally looking through CinemaScope.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if, even though you look at all of your problems and the stuff that you're going through and the failures you're going through, but imagine your life as a Ghibli movie where the movie is optimistic for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And what a way to live.
Boy.
You think about any, like, I've only seen Miyazaki movies other than Whisper of the Heart. If you think like not Whisper of the Heart, The Wind Rises, it's so dark and adult, and there's death and stuff, and at the end it still feels...
It's still optimistic.
Yeah.
It's still like, what will you do? Because it's your choice on how you decide to do it. For those of you who don't know, Whisper of the Heart. The Wind Rises is Hayao Miyazaki's last film.
Well, he's working on a new one.
For
the
now.
fucking Hungry Caterpillar or something.
Yeah.
Some shit like that.
And
I'm like, what are you doing? I'll still watch it. It's still gonna be amazing.
It's you. We have to watch it.
You know, if this is your swan song, or if it's your caterpillar song, rather, you know, do your thing.
Do you?
I love you.
We have trust in you, right? But yeah, it came out 5 years ago. We were seniors in high school when it came out. And it's about, like, the catch line of the movie, even though it wasn't ever really stated that way, it's like, if you had 10 years to accomplish your dream, would you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about that. Yeah. It's all about pursuing your dream to the best of your ability despite the circumstances. And I feel like that is actually like the phrase of most Miyazaki films, if you really like boil it down to a simple phrase. And that's obviously super simplified and lacks any of the complexity in any of his movies, but I think it's still kind of partially true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I feel better. I feel pretty good. How do you feel,
I
Chad?
think so. Well, I'm sick.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well,
I'm terrified of this physical ailment slowly deteriorating my flesh. Just kidding. I just have a flu.
yeah, it's just.
I don't even know if it's a flu or not.
It's like a cold. It might
Yeah,
be a
it's
flu.
It's a virus.
That's okay. We're going
not
to be
sexual.
keeping our podcasts from now on around an hour to an hour and 20.
Well, if we want to have a like really in-depth discussion, we're gonna probably do like a two-part.
Yeah, a
episode.
two-parter or something like that. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna just come off with one last question for us to finish us off. I think Aaron's almost done with his Ramune. John and I have finished ours. That is finished. Let's get to the
Nice.
last question. Let's talk about Country Roads, Take Me Home.
Country road.
I didn't mean to sing it.
Take me home.
To the place.
Everybody. Where
I
I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road.
Honestly, that was fine. I think, do you guys even want to talk about it? Or does that feeling kind of just do it for you?
We can.
We can, yeah. There's nothing stopping us.
Yeah, you're right. Because John brought up earlier, he was like, this is such a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Explain. Like, talk to us about it. Tell us.
Again, it's just like John Denver. There's like he's such a like quintessential like American dude.
Yeah.
You know, he was all about conservation of like
The forests.
the great parks and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And like Country Roads is such a like an ode to like you know being American of like shouting out all these like various like American landmarks. But it's just like when you think about that like song, it's like a song about home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just really beautiful that what's the main girl's name again? When Whisper takes when Whisper
You're right.
when the main girl takes the song and she projects her own like life experiences onto that piece of music.
Shizuku.
And like Shizuku, there we go. When Shizuku takes it and she sort of puts her own life in the context of that song, and then like it's transformation, it's adaptation, but it's like it's just something super super beautiful, and like it adds on top of it this like layer that's super like I yeah, super vivid, and like I haven't really seen that in a lot of movies, which is really cool. Aaron?
I mean, I would just echo everything you said.
Nice.
Classic.
Thanks for that. Thanks for really diving deep.
You're welcome.
Yup.
In case, for those of you who don't know, Aaron also graduated with an English degree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he should be
He
the
should be the
best
one. doing this
Out of
stuff.
all this.
I know.
Doesn't take a degree to be good at analyzing fine art.
Yeah, I know, but that's what you spent your
Technically,
spare time.
we're not analyzing. Well,
We're just talking about
we'll have a meta discussion about the podcast on the podcast after you give any thoughts, any other thoughts on Country Roads.
like I said in the beginning, I think it's so potent and powerful to take something American, make it Japanese, and make it your own.
Yeah.
Because it's something that has that feeling of home in it, embedded into it. And that doesn't mean it's anybody's in particulars, but it can be anybody's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody owns it. You all have it.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. It's the feeling that it invokes. It's not necessarily who wrote it, who sings it. And I think that's really good. And I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a very special moment, and like that's why I was very defensive, and I'll say very defensive about like the dub versus sub thing earlier, because like if you do like really see this as a Japanese movie that like really celebrates the fact that it is Japanese, it's highlighting Japanese neighborhoods and suburbs in a really like special, like really kind way, with a kind heart, and just like that scene and like what Country Roads means to her is like I think it sort of gets lost in translation because you sort of see country roads in the context of like how just like normal American life is and like what that song means to us like as a folk country song, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta like sing it through her eyes. It's like an extra step. But it's like that extra step makes the world a difference of like how universal our feelings can be and how, you know, how just like the power of like, you know, art or whatever or just communication, you know, more than anything is like really important. And I think that's why she wants to become a writer. She really cares about like, you know, what she wants to really like show and share with people, you know.
Yeah.
Like her versions of Country Roads are like not exactly the happiest songs on on earth. Like it's sort of a celebration of like, you know, her struggles and like her, you know, all these like feelings, whether they be positive or negative, that are in her. But then, you know,
it's honest.
It's very honest.
And
like,
it's super real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Country Roads.
All right. The soda is finished.
Take me home
to the place
I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. All right, you guys.
CC, if Jenna said like that was sort of dumb, yeah, I can.
Because it is. Yeah, definitely. All right, I think that's gonna capstone our discussion of Whisper of the Heart. But we got one more thing to talk about.
Yep.
Aaron Miller, next week's movie.
Are we doing your fizziness?
Oh shoot! Oh, look at
Aaron
this.
Miller, high
Coming
five.
in clutch. All
That's
right.
called character growth.
Yeah, you're super right. We didn't even do surprise soft drink because we don't have a guest this week. So
wow.
All right.
I
Aaron.
feel great right now. Like,
So do I.
I feel so perked up right now.
Aaron, tell us what the fizziness rating is. Tell us what it is.
Oh, what it is? It's it's not how much. It's how fizzy the movie was.
Just laid it on the table.
In my mind, the meaning is very nebulous.
It is.
It
it's
should be.
It's super.
It
obscure.
could be what you think the movie is subjectively. It could be what you think it is in an objective sense. I think
it
is the score you want to give it based on how fizzy you think the movie is.
Yeah, fizzy could just mean a plethora of things.
Yeah. It's the objective fizziness to your subjective like
thought.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, take it away. Give us how fizzy that Ramune was, and then how fizzy.
Ramune, I'm gonna give it a solid 70.
Decent score.
It was good. It was very sweet.
Super sweet.
I feel super hopped up right now.
Me too.
And I have to pee again.
Yeah, me too. It's crazy.
Thank you, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I feel seen. Movie fizziness, I'm gonna say 80.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
John?
Ramune fizziness score. Jeez, I'm gonna give it a 45. I don't think there are a lot of bubbles in that. And I have this like aftertaste, and like this aftertaste is definitely not fizz, dude.
No.
It's anti-fizz, dude. I think if we had marble Ramune, that would make a different case. But current bottle Ramune, I'm gonna give it 45. Movie, oh jeez. I have to like be in Aaron's like we gotta be ballpark buddies, and I'm gonna say like that's from the Doughboys podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of things that I say, whether you know it or not, like, things taken from that podcast, mine from that podcast. But I'm gonna give it an 86.
Gotcha.
It's fizziness of normal life, maybe.
Heck yeah. I was gonna give the Ramune a 70, but you're right. That aftertaste is actually kind of rough.
It's anti-fizz.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the drink is good. I think you can have it on a nice, warm summer afternoon, listening to Country Roads. It'd be perfect.
But not 11 a.m.
But not at 11 a.m. on a Sunday in a room.
In November.
So I'm going to give it a 60, fizziness. This movie has a special place in my heart. It's my objective, subjective fizziness. I'm going to give it a 92.
Wow.
All right.
Well, it's that time of
the year.
Time of the podcast. Well, actually, actually, time of the year.
Yeah.
Should we talk about what our holiday plans are? For the podcast, not our own holiday plans.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Actually, John, you take that away.
Yeah, okay, so Friends for Friends, we're a little podcasting network, and this is our first like real Yeah, technically we are technically. This is our first podcast, and we're really happy with Soda Society as it is. So we're gonna be capping off Soda Society season 1 off around December 20. I think our last episode of this first season will be released on Christmas Day. And
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas,
Merry
all
Christmas.
you punks!
And it'll be a holiday extravaganza where we're gonna watch 3 movies.
We're gonna
each tackle on a 2-liter bottle of eggnog.
Yeah, 2-liter bottle of eggnog. We're also each going to be bringing a guest, right?
Yes, to help us with our respective 2-liter.
It's gonna be awful.
2-liter bottle of eggnog.
It's gonna be so.
It's
rough.
gonna be a really fun time.
Oh man!
And then 2019, you might see some new shows.
The Return of the Middle Seat podcast.
I think the Middle Seat podcast might start early December actually.
Yep,
so
there we go.
I'm really excited about that. And we're working on different things. We have Aaron's Toy Talk.
My personal favorite.
Yeah, and then I'm probably going to. I really want to start a long form interview podcast
about music.
About music called working title Your Favorite Album, where I have long track by track discussions about specific albums that are special to people.
Yeah, and I'll have my own podcast called Your Day at Disney, where I just bring in some of the people working at Disney, and they just complain.
You know what? I like that.
We'll see. It's still in its early drafts. Yeah.
So is Aaron's Toy Talk, but it'll be good either way.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron.
Next
Please
week?
take it away.
Let's hear it.
All right.
I'm not excited.
This coming week,
gotta admit.
it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So of course we gotta do something. What's Thanksgiving all about? Let's
Food and family.
Food and family. What's the most food and family movie?
Sausage Party.
Chef.
No. Okay, it's not. It is about food and family.
Ratatouille?
But it's not what you first think about when you think of this movie.
So it has to be Ratatouille, right?
It's a very fall movie.
We're watching in summer.
We're tackling a director we have not watched on the podcast yet.
Wow.
The Room.
Wes Anderson's
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
All right.
Wow, you're the stop motion animated guy.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
guess I didn't realize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice.
And the drink will be
Eggnog.
Apple cider.
Apple cider.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're
Good
drinking
shit.
a bottle of apple cider.
Oh, dude,
right.
that might be. I'm predicting right now that's gonna be like top to line fizziness.
I think it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to
Good
it.
stuff, Aaron.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Aaron.
Good stuff.
All right.
It'll be a fun time.
Be the best time. The best time.
Yeah,
Thanks.
best time. All right. What's this week's
Sign
sign
off.
off?
Oh.
Country roads, take me home to the place where I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.
Thanks for joining us, you guys. We'll see you next week.
一人ぼっち恐れずに生きようと